by Julia,
Alana,
Layla,
and Lori. My ideas were the printing press, the telescope, and the microscope.
My ideas were the parachute, the Sistine Chapel, and the clock.
My ideas were the aircraft, the notebook, and the handgun.
My ideas were the helicopter, the pocket watch, and the parachute.
We chose to recreate the Sistine Chapel.
The art of the Sistine Chapel ceiling is an amazing sight. Seeing that would definitely convince people in the chapel that God was guiding Michelangelo's hand to help him create such a beautiful work of art. Not only did his artwork inspire common people, it also inspired many artists during the Renaissance. The ceiling of the Sistine Chapel was painted by Michelangelo, after the Pope Julius II requested that he paint it for him. He used wooden scaffolds in the building to stand up while he painted the gigantic fresco on the ceiling. His fresco contained over 300 of pre-Christ biblical figures. To paint a fresco, one must mix up plaster and spread it onto the wall, and paint the plaster before it dries. Michelangelo wrote entries in his journal about how he was misplaced because he was a sculptor, and even wrote a poem about his misery. It was a very physical strain. In 1508, Pope Julius II requested that Michelangelo paint the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel. Michelangelo was not looking forward to the project because he was a sculptor, but he accepted anyways. When Michelangelo was about 1/3 done with the ceiling, there was a problem. Mold began to form on the roof. He wanted to quit and told the Pope that he wasn't a painter. But the Pope just hired someone to demold the roof. In 1510, Pope Julius wanted to show Michelangelo's half-finished chapel to the public because he was so amazed. Michelangelo did not want to because it wasn't finished, but the Pope forced him to take down the scaffolding and open the chapel to the public. In January 1511, Michelangelo got back to work. He finished the other half of the ceiling in August and finished the details by 1512. In total, the process took 4 years.
For the first prototype of our Sistine Chapel, we have a white box with a removable lid. On the roof, we have a 3D printed dome with a cross on top of it. On the inside of the chapel, we printed out pictures of the art, which we hot glued on. There is some white space on the sides of it, which is one of the weaknesses of the box. We hot glued the box together, so it is a bit unstable in some places. Another weakness is that the floor has nothing on it except for white paint, but that is not how it is in the real Sistine Chapel. For the second prototype of our Sistine Chapel, we still have a white box. We put the lid on 2 hinges so it could open smoothly. There is a 3D printed dome with an improved cross on it. On the inside of the chapel, we printed out pictures of the art, which we stuck on with Mod Podge. The box was fitted so that the pictures would take up the whole wall. The floor of the chapel is painted brown because we did not have enough time to print out another picture of the tile floor, which is what is in the real chapel. We nailed the box together so it was very sturdy. If we had more time, we would have been able to close the gap on the ceiling. We did not factor in added space for the hinges. Also, we improved the front of the building so it would look more like the real one.
For the prototype, the first thing we had to do was find a big slab of wood that we could cut into the size that we wanted. Once we cut it with the wood cutter, we painted it white. However, since the paint was drying slowly, we used a hairdryer to dry it. Then, we hot glued it all together onto the base. We did not glue the roof because we planned to just take it off and on to show the artwork on the roof. For the front, we cut a triangle and glued it onto the front. We then made columns out of popsicle sticks and hot glued it also. Then we painted it all white. For the final product, we did almost the same thing, but we touched up the details.